In 1965, Singapore's GDP per capita was just $516. Half the population was illiterate. Unemployment hit 14%. A third of people lived in slums. Today, GDP per capita is $67,000, surpassing Germany and the United States. This is the story of how a tiny island with no natural resources, kicked out of Malaysia, transformed itself into one of the world's wealthiest nations in just 60 years. When Singapore gained independence in 1965, it faced an existential crisis. As a tiny island with just 734 square kilometers, no natural resources, and a population of barely 2 million, its prospects looked grim. 70% of households lived in overcrowded conditions, one-third squatted in slums. The new Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew faced a brutal reality. Singapore had nothing, no oil, no mineral, no land for agriculture. But he understood one thing: Singapore had geography. Located at the crossroads of major maritime trade routes, connecting the Indian Ocean to the South China Sea and near the Strait of Malacca, one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. Lee's strategy was radical: turn Singapore's only asset, its strategic location, into a competitive advantage. Transform human capital into the nation's natural resource. Lee established two critical institutions, the Housing Development Board and the Economic Development Board. The Housing Board transformed slums into carefully planned townships, providing superior living conditions. The Development Board built industries to provide jobs. But the real genius was in economic policy. Unlike many developing nations that adopted protectionism, Singapore embraced an export-oriented strategy that welcomed foreign investment. Lee championed free trade, attracting multinational corporations like General Electric to use Singapore as their regional hub. He invested heavily in education and technical training to create a skilled workforce. He enforced strict anti-corruption laws and maintained political stability, creating a business-friendly environment that global companies could trust. Singapore offered low taxes, strict rule of law, and world-class infrastructure. Under Lee's 3 decades in office from 1959 to 1990, Singapore's economy grew at an average rate of 8.2% per year. Per capita income rose from under $450 to $11,800 by 1991, a staggering 2,800% increase. In 1971, when America delinked the dollar from gold, Lee quickly grasped the opportunity and established Singapore as a regional center for foreign exchange. The Monetary Authority of Singapore was founded in 1971, unifying financial regulation and monetary policy. Singapore's port became the second busiest in the world, docking over 140,000 vessels yearly. But more importantly, Singapore positioned itself as Asia's financial gateway. Today, there are $3.4 trillion in assets held by 132 commercial banks in Singapore. The country manages $3.6 trillion in assets under management. The financial sector represents 13.5% of GDP. Singapore succeeded by combining strategic location with impeccable governance. It maintains one of the lowest corruption rates in the world, with income tax rates among the lowest in Asia. This attracts global companies to establish regional headquarters there. In 1960, Singapore's GDP per capita was one-third of Western Europe's average. Today, it's twice as much, from fishing village to financial powerhouse in 2 generations. But challenges remain. Economic growth has slowed to 3.6% per year as the economy matured. Singapore now faces demographic constraints and must transition from growth driven by labor and capital to growth driven by productivity and innovation. The question for the future: can Singapore maintain its edge as a global hub while neighboring countries catch up? Singapore didn't just transform its economy, it rewrote the rules of what small nation can achieve. If this story inspired you, consider subscribing for more economic deep dives.